Okay. Okay. So today we're talking about professional development, and we just try to introduce ourselves a little bit so that each one of us can have the opportunity to connect and network with one another. What I will also say for those who are just joining, um, please just do a little introduction in the chat box. Just because of time, we won't be able to have everybody introduce themselves. So we have a chat box here. Introduce yourself a little bit. Put your LinkedIn URL. That will help for people to be able to connect with you even after the session. I will leave this going on so that you can pick all of the links that is shared there, the URL links of the guys that are joining. So don't let us hesitate in doing that. I'm going to introduce our network because I see some new guys here. Our network is called the Supply Chain Industry Network. We incorporated recently, and this is leading to the change of our name from what we used to call it. We call it Supply Jobs. So we're positioning our network as a non-profit, having registered as one this year. And what is our goal? Our goal here is to support foreign trained professionals in Canada who are looking to break into the industry. I've journeyed through these challenges myself, so I understand. And majority of the colleagues who are supporting our networks, some of them here also online with us, they also have gone through this journey, and some of them have received help through our network. Honestly, that's one thing that gives me joy about our network, that it's not just all about noise, it's about people who actually came through for help, and they also turned out to be supporting and helping others who are just starting that journey. That's one thing that is very unique about our network. So you are welcome, even though today it might appear as if things are not working out, but in some few months, you actually be the one also helping others who are just starting out. Once you have that at the back of your mind, it will happen. And we provide professional development training recently. I think that was last year we started because we realized that, okay, the problem we're trying to solve here has to do with not having that social network in Canada because, of course, you severed all of that while you decided to leave your comfort zone and come to Canada. But then you come to Canada and you realize it's not quite as the way it's painted in the media, but nonetheless, it's just like every other journey. Once you decided to go out of your comfort zone, guess what? The pain of growth, you're going to feel it. And this is what probably a lot of us are going through. And what you need to do then is how do you, use these experiences to not only just help yourself and but also helping others who are just starting that journey. And this is what our network is really all about. We provide support in terms of resources for job search, for mentoring, networking, and then of course professional development. The professional development part of it is having realized after some time that, look, it's not just going to be about networking, it's also about upgrading your skills. The industry, after doing some research and some of the things that we have seen in the industry, is that the opportunities are there, but majority of the talents that are available, for jobs, do not necessarily have the skill sets that the industry requires, and this is why you see that. You see all these jobs posted online. However, nobody is calling you for interviews. Perhaps one of those reasons because you do not really have the right type of skills. And this is what our professional development activity is all about, to help give you those necessary skills that are required to transition successfully into the supply chain industry. So having said that, I think we should just go straight to my slide here. The slide I have is going to be about the supply chain career roadmap, and in between we will talk about specific opportunities to actually develop those skills. What are the trainings that are available? what are the trainings that we have scheduled for the fall. Again, remember the topic here really is about the fall, where when we're going to be having all of the different types of trainings to acquire skills that will be required by the employer, so that you can further enhance your ability to transition successfully. So this is what we're going to be doing today. So I also realize that there are people who probably haven't been exposed that much to supply chain. So they have some some ideas about what supply chain is. However, it's not necessarily as if they have a foundational knowledge of what supply chain is. So that's what I'm going to quickly try to do. Bear with me here. I'm going to try check if they can hear me on LinkedIn, because I normally run into that issue with LinkedIn where it appears nobody is hearing me. So that's what I'm just going to quickly check here. Let's see if you will allow me, guys. Just want to check. Yeah, I'm going to try check if okay. They can hear me. Okay, loud and clear. So I think you can hear me on LinkedIn, which is great. So this is the career roadmap that I would like to show you guys quickly. So when we talk about the supply value chain, speaking about what is going on in the industry, like I always tell people, the supply chain is the industry. And you can see this little chart here is talking about all the activities that goes on in our industries. There are the primary activities that are related directly to supply chain. So we talk about logistics, inbound operations. So this is manufacturing operations, all types of operations, by the way. Um, Outbound logistics, which move the products that are produced into the distribution network or into the outwards towards the customers. Marketing and sales. I bet you probably didn't think marketing and sales is part of supply chain, right? So, well, it's a huge part of the integration that we have in supply chain when it comes to how we reach out to our customers. And then, of course, service. You can call it customer service, but when we say service, we're talking about ensuring that the customer's needs are being met, and there are several things that has to do with that. Sometimes it's really about technology, implementation to ensure that our customers are we're in touch with our customers and getting information from them, because this information is really what drives our production processes, or that helps us to establish what resources we need to put in place to fulfill those customers' needs. Well, at the end of the day, it's about how do we ensure that this is done efficiently. um, you know Fine, we are able to fulfill our customers' needs, but are we doing it in an efficient manner so that we are profitable? Because all companies exist to make profit. So, and this is why you see the margin in front of that. So there are other activities that actually help support all of these things that we're talking about, from the inbound operations, so outbound logistics, marketing, and service. These support activities is what you see on the top there. So procurement, technology, human resources, and also from infrastructure. When we say from infrastructure, this actually could be processes, procedures, whereas it also could be physical infrastructures like the plant, like the buildings and all of that stuff. So all of this helps to drive the primary activities in supply chain. And if you've worked in the industry before, yeah, like this is something you can relate with. Honestly, this is one of those models that I got introduced to very early when I decided that okay, I'm going to even research into this thing, because I didn't study supply chain as my degree. I studied mechanical engineering, and it is just so fascinating when I started that I realized that look, this is even more making sense for me than engineering, because I'm somebody who really like to connect, who would like to develop my social skills, and I realized supply chain offered that opportunity, and that's how I started out. Knowing that eventually it will help build me technically and also on the social and soft skill side. So that's really one of the flex. If you're working in supply chain, it's not just about the technical stuff. It's about how do you actually then relate, how do you use that to make changes both in your environment, socially, otherwise. I mean, you guys are hearing about sustainability, you are hearing about ESGs and all these other initiatives of today's circular supply chain circularity. These are the big stuff that supply chains have impact upon, that if you're talking about engineering, it couldn't have really had any much impact in those areas. So this is one of those major things that I would use to convince anyone who is still on the fence, about pursuing a supply chain career, right? Nathaniel, like maybe that's for you. Okay. So
Yeah.
SCM processes. So here are the basic processes we have in supply chain as broken down by ASCM. ASCM is Association for Supply Chain Management. By the way, we are a partner with ASCM, and it's a global supply chain association, that also are administering global industry certifications like the CSCP that is known globally across the globe, across the world. So these are the ways they broke them down, everything that we have in supply chain. So the one that I showed you earlier is like a big picture, supply chain. But these they broke it down further, like the granular stuffs that are going on in supply chain. So number one here is planning. So supply chain planning. This is where you do all of the planning, scheduling, and every other thing in between to ensure that whatever you're going to be doing in your companies, as far as supply chain is concerned, is we are strategic about it, and we also plan the resources, the budgeting, and every other thing in between to make sure that these things happen effectively. And then sourcing, of course, is where you acquire materials. Is where you acquire even staffs or manpower to deliver or to, let's say, produce the material in case of materials. So we also do services, not only just about physical stuff. So we source every other resources that is required to make this happen. Hello?
Are you sharing your screen? Were you planning to share your screen?
Oh, I have my screen on. I can see. You guys don't see my screen? Is that what you're saying?
I am not.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah. My screen is on. I can actually see it on LinkedIn as well. My screen is on. Maybe you're showing a different page on your computer there. So can guys confirm that you can see my screen? Let me stop and check the chat box.
No,
here.
I can't.
Okay, you can. Okay. So let me try this again. Okay, I see what is going on here. How is it now? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, sounds good. I think it's from my side. I shared on LinkedIn, but I didn't share here. All I'm just looking at is LinkedIn. Yeah, sometimes it could be like that with these presentations, right? Sorry about that. Um, Let me make it bigger. Okay, so I talked about sourcing earlier. This is where we acquire all the resources. Then making is where we actually get into the production. For services, it could just be operations. It doesn't necessarily have to be you're producing something. And then, of course, the deliver. You would see this is where we then move this out, to the customers. And of course, the supply chain of today cannot really work without returns. There will be repairs, there will be returns from customers, or servicing. So all of this falls under return, because the logistics to make all of those happen very, very critical. And this is very much associated with the service component that we talked about earlier in the that particular model you saw when they talk about service. This return is a huge part of that. Imagine buying something from Amazon and then you don't like it, and then it just winds up not being used for anything, and they didn't actually bother about helping to return or to replace it. So that is a very huge component of any type of supply chain. Enable is another interesting add to the supply chain management processes. Enable is just talking about technology. So how do we improve all of these processes by using technology or use some other type of processes to enhance, the effectiveness of the supply chain management processes. So that is the last one. We also call this core supply chain operational reference model. This is actually the high level, like this is like when we look at plan, for example, plan is broken down further into like a four different levels, where you can see the granular activities that are happening in planning. So if you never heard about the SCOR before, the supply chain operational reference model, go and have a look at that, and you will see where it's broken down into the nitty gritty. So, so I think I heard phone call or something now. So, well, anyways, I think one of the things that we're interested in here, I haven't talked about all the processes, is what opportunities are available, in supply chain, supply chain planner, demand planner, production plan. So all of this falls under those planning processes you saw there. So they do very fundamental functions within our supply chain. Yeah, this is within the sourcing processes. So purchaser, sourcing analyst, contract specialist, vendor relationship manager. So a lot of these has to do with the sourcing processes. A huge part of it has to do with relationship management, but of course, there is the acquisition part of it. The acquisition you're doing in procurement, it's also happening at a strategic level, meaning that whatever you're doing in procurement is directly related to the objectives of the companies you're working for. So this is one of those things that really convinced me that I should be in supply chain, because I realized that for every major initiative that any company is working on, the procurement aspect of it is actually strategic, because whatever you're doing in that procurement function goes directly to support the goals of the company in terms of their business objectives, or even the project objective. This is project this time around. So in a way, you have a very, very influential role when it comes to the impact that you can make on a company, or even on a global scale, talking about things like sustainability, social, corporate social responsibility, and the rest of them. So there's a huge impact that we can make, because we have that buying authority for an organization, for a company, or for the government. So a lot of the things, decisions that we get to make have those type of direct impact on the economy, and also the social welfare of a country, for example. So this is one other thing that, if you are somebody who is driven towards this type of things that I've mentioned, then maybe procurement might be your one cup of tea, right? So let's look at our roadmap, because we don't want to take too much time. We want to leave time for questions, but we also want to get to hear from people who have gone through our roadmaps, or they are taking our courses, so that you could hear from them how we do things differently, and what type of result that they have seen having gone through some of our activities. So the roadmap looks like this. This is a high level roadmap, so we have also designed this in such a way that you have the ability to steer the direction in which you like to go on our roadmaps. So we have several courses, which are actually uh, based on the ASCM, what do I call it now? The ASCM portfolio of certifications, which is huge. So, of course, we just pick some few of them that we think will be most relevant to those who are just approaching supply chain for the first time. So we don't want to confuse you with so many other things that they have. Like I said earlier, we're a partner with them, so we can deliver any of their courses, even the consulting part of it as well, in terms of assessing activities in your companies, for maybe improvement initiatives, that we could do those type of assessments through the partnership that we have with ASCM. So, well, anyways, that's just digression there. But let's focus on the roadmap here. So 3 months for you to be able to do some of the fundamentals of supply chain. It could take you less than that. I mean, procurement certificate, for example, is something that we did recently, and the guys that actually enrolled for this were able to complete within a month. Um, after enrolling for it, and there you go, they got their certificate as a proof or a social proof of their knowledge in the foundation of procurement. So foundational courses, cases case studies completed in supply chain planning, logistics, inventory management, procurement, and operations management. So this is basically like a summary of a lot of things that we will do in the few months period. Then there is the certification part of it. The certification now is a confirmation of the knowledge that you have gained. For many of you who already have experiences in supply chain or experiences in functions that are close, so somebody who had worked in production before will have some ideas of what supply chain entails, but not the entire thing, not the end to end. So you can just pick a particular certification that it's more focused on your area of specialization, for example. So you do not necessarily then have to go through the foundational courses, if you know what I mean. So for those who have no idea at all, like you're coming from a totally off supply chain grid experience, then I would definitely recommend the foundational course. This is also an ASCM one. It covers everything end to end from production, like all those things I mentioned earlier, production, manufacturing, uh, procurement. So you have inventory management, warehousing. So all of these foundational courses are under the ASCM foundational supply chain management course. So which is the one that I would recommend for those who are just approaching without any idea of what supply chain management is. But for those who have worked in those areas, like you've worked in the bank, you've worked in admin roles, and these admin roles involve some type of sourcing, some type of procurement, logistics, like event logistics, or even office logistics, all these type of things. So I would recommend like the procurement certificate to those guys. All right. So it means you can get a step ahead because you have some prior experience. And then for those, for example, who have done inventory management or you've done warehousing, you have some experience in this, then I'll recommend something like an industry certification like the CPIM if this is really where you want to focus on going forward. Those who are in production planning, the same thing is the CPIM. If you've done production planning or done something close to production planning, then there's the CSCP. CSCP is like the end to end. This is the one I recommend for those who are into business analysis. So if you want to explore the world of business analysis in supply chain perspective, then I would recommend CSCP because it covers everything end to end in supply chain. And after completing these, you're expected to have gained sufficient knowledge to be able to become a subject matter expert that could work on initiative within the supply chain in any of those functions that we saw earlier. So that would be the CSCP. Then there's a CLTD, which is focused on logistics, transportation, and distribution. Okay, so all of these courses, we we have to kind of listen in on what your experiences are, what your interests are, and then be able to make some recommendation on what direction you should go. And then after that, we have the volunteering part of it. So the volunteering, the way I say volunteering is one way we are trying to use our platform to support people to have the right experience that the industry are looking for. And I think I don't know if Una is able to join us today. Is Una here? So Una is somebody who actually did that with us, and she went through our job search accelerator program, and after this, she was able to volunteer with Sarah Project Services, and she did um, help during the supply chain industry network conference, the Industry Connect conference, as a procurement coordinator. And after this, going through all of these activities, she's now been able to get a procurement specialist role that actually involves a company, a global company that's into event management. So, and this is a typical example of those type of results that we see here. If we could be committed to that journey. So it's one thing to want something, it's another thing to really be committed. And this is where the this is what really differentiates people in terms of the result that they get. Well, before Anna actually got that opportunity, because there's been a lot of disappointing event, tons of events, as she was going through these challenges. But I'm sure that those challenges she went through, if she was going to compare with what she was doing before she reached out for help, I'm sure she would have realized that, okay, how I wish I actually started this journey earlier, because she went into that spiral of, healthcare is the thing that will get you into the industry faster than any other thing. She had administrative experiences back home, and then she came here, and then she was, convinced about this healthcare thing. And then that's what she started, even after she has talked to me. It happens, right? She has talked to me, and then, somehow people got to convince her that she should go in the healthcare line. And then when she reached out, I look at, say, you have what it takes to do procurement here. Why are we wasting time? And then, she got started, and then we started working on job search activities, and she also volunteered, which helped to also give her some type of social proof of what she could do. And then from there, she got the opportunity. I think it's a month old opportunity now. So, and then she started with us last year. So again, it's about commitment. Okay, this is what really gets you the result that you want. Now, the other option here is an internship. An internship means that you actually then continue, the support, the mentoring, until you actually so the internship could be with another organization, not necessarily with serial projects. So this is what we mean by internship, but it's not a paid internship, is what I would like to put forward. So this is what the roadmap looks like. And if you have any question when it comes to the roadmap, or you want to learn specifics of what you should do going forward, then definitely you have to reach out to me via